welcome to my video. I am so glad that you're joining me. I have a ton of things to show you. It's going to be a fun, wonderful video. I hope you enjoy it. It's a little rainy today, even though I'm getting enough sun or natural lighting through our windows because we have lots of big windows, so I can't get around that. It's still icky kind of outside, so we're inside again. I've been able to film outside for a while and it's been lovely. So let's jump right into things. I have several different veins of things to go through. So let's start with some things that I have been able to get. So Oregon has opened up stores. So the retail stores are open now since Friday. That does not include everything though. So like beauty things like Sally Beauty, if you happen to have those in your area, those aren't open. Haircut places aren't open everywhere. Different things. Goodwill, I don't think they're open anywhere yet. So not every single retail is open. There are, I think, 5 or 6 counties in Oregon that have applied to have even more things open that were not allowed to. Either they didn't apply for them or they didn't pass the qualifications to be open. The county I live in did. They were able to open up restaurants for you to actually sit in with guidelines, of course. So you couldn't, not all the tables, there's only, the capacity is lower than the normal capacity. Hair salons are open if they choose to be in our county. Obviously retailers as well, because they're open in the counties that weren't opened for other things like what I just mentioned. So my husband and my son actually finally got a haircut. They needed it. They needed it bad. It was pretty sad. There were some, it seemed like last week, every time I went in where my husband does work at the computer, I don't know what he's doing with his hair. He claims he washed it, but it's like he ran his fingers through it and it's just going all different directions standing up on it. I don't know what he did. Oh, it was entertaining, that's for sure. You never knew what you're going to get when you go in that room. So yeah, we've been able to get to some places. One of the places that I was able to go was this little town that's just slightly bigger than the one I live in, which is pretty small. So our town only has about 2,500 people that live in the city limits. The town that's about 3 miles away is slightly larger than that, maybe another 1,000 or so people. They have several antique stores, but they also have a thrift store. It's very small. It's pretty crowded with stuff in there. The aisles are pretty narrow, but they were open even before Friday. So I don't know how they qualified. I don't even want to try and figure it out because there's too many rules and regulations, but they were open. And not only were they open, because a lot of other places weren't, but everything in their store was 50% off. I don't really want to take advantage of the people who haven't been able to sell things, but if they're offering it, then I will. So I went in, and I went in because sometimes they'll put stuff outside by their front door, just kind of advertising, trying to get people to come in and shop. And I had seen something that I had wanted to get, so I stopped in for that. But then as I was looking around, I found one other thing. And it's probably about 3.5 feet tall, and it's wonderful. I'm going to show you a little video because I can't show it to you here. It's too big to do that, but I'm loving it because I've already put it where I want it, and I've already filled a good portion of it up. So I will insert that little video here. Look what I found. Awesome. I was actually able to go to a thrift store that happened to be open and found this lovely beast. They were also having like everything was 50% off, so that's why I ended up getting this, because it was a reasonable deal. So lots of drawers. It's not terribly thick. I mean, you can see there's my kitty cat. It's not terribly deep, but it's great. One of the things I like about this too is that these fold down. So they both, on both sides, they fold down. And easy storage. And they're on wheels. You can see there's wheels there. So I can just roll it in and out wherever I need it, store things as needed. And I'm so happy. It's great. It's perfect. So as you can see, it was wonderful. It's got so many little drawers. They're thin little drawers, so no, you can't fit real high things, but I've got a lot of things that are small, and I needed those flatter, little shorter drawers for. Not for my bags, because I've got another chest of drawers that I use for that. And this one isn't that deep. So I think I showed on the video just that it wasn't that deep. It's I don't even know if it's a foot deep, really. But it fits the things that I need in it. So it's perfect. I'm loving it. I haven't been doing as many bags and other things, so I haven't really been able to get it out and open up those leaves to use it as a work surface yet. But I'm sure it's going to come in very handy when I do that. The other thing is, because grocery stores and things like that were open, is we have in our little town, we don't have a lot of shops and things like that, but we have some. And about a year ago, I think they put in a Dollar General, and I had to run down there for some milk. But I just kind of was wandering around looking at some things, and I found something that is so cute. Now, obviously the little pig does not need to be with it, but it's just an example. So it's this little frame, like, I don't know, 3x5 maybe. And it's this corrugated metal with a clip on it, wood frame. It's so cute. It is so freaking cute. So I'll need to find a small stitchy thing that I can do and put it on here. That's my plan, is to do something stitchy to put on here. So, and it was like $2 or something, maybe $2.50. So it was pretty cheap, and it's just freaking adorable, people. So got that. Couple of things I was able to go out and get. I did get one other thing, since we're on to acquisitions, if you want to call it that. Acorns and threads, because retails are open. They could be open, but they've chosen to wait one more week. Now, not only have they chosen to wait one more week, and this applies to some other businesses as well. They're not the only ones who are doing this. That if you want to come in, they are limiting it. I don't know how many can be in the store at one time, and you have to do it by appointment. So you have to call and schedule an appointment for you to come in to be able to be in the store, and you kind of want to tell them how long you think it might be in the store. But I am still just calling and placing an order, and I just drive by and pick it up. I don't go in the store yet. I'm going to wait for a little bit before I do that, till I really, really need to. But the one thing that I did get was a Plum Street sampler. This was one of their new things they showed on the email that they sent out, and I wanted to get that. So, my peaceful home, very, very cute. Little drum. You obviously could make it into something else. Cute little peacock. It's got a house. It's got the bird feet, the bird houses that wrap around the back side of it. It is just wonderful. Actually, now that I look at the back, those are not bird houses. Because in the back, I'm going to show you this. It shows you the whole thing unscrolled. It kind of looks like bird houses because there's birds sitting on it, but they're trees. They're little trees. And you got a little deer or something here. But of course the peacock, and then there's another little animal here. In fact, that one has spots. So that's like a doe or a little baby right there. Oh, cute. So I am looking forward to doing that at some point. Now, let's see what we're going to get onto. So those are the things I got. Before I get into the things I have stitched, I'm going to kind of break this video up so we can kind of have fun and look at, do other things. So what I'm going to do now is put in a video that I made, or several videos that I made, a compilation of them, of things that we might be celebrating. Because a lot of us might be a little depressed or saddened or whatever, that you might have a birthday during this quarantine time. You might have missed your prom. I know a lot of you that watch probably are more older adults, so that you may not fall into this. But if you think that video is really cute, you can show it to somebody that's along these lines. Graduation. Did you not get to do a graduation? I know a lot of them are kind of changing what they do for graduation so that they can still kind of have something, but something like that. Also, maybe you missed going to a wedding, or you were getting married. Maybe not that many people fall into that category. Or you've had an anniversary. I'm going to kind of lump that along with the wedding part of the video. I personally missed my wedding anniversary. That was in March. My daughter had a birthday in April, so she missed really having any kind of celebration for that. So you might fall into one of these categories, and so then you'll be able to kind of have fun with this next little video montage, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
I wanna wish you a happy birthday. I wanna help you celebrate. I wanna wish you lots of presents. I wanna help you eat your cake. If you party in the island way, you'll be jamming all night till the light of day. Your birthday is your day to shine. Another year and you'll be looking fine. So have no worries, don't you hesitate. It's time to party, time to celebrate. It's time to celebrate. Yeah. What you wanna do, baby? Where you wanna go? I take you to the moon, baby. I take you to the club. I treat you like a real lady, no matter where you go. Just give me some time, baby. 'Cause you know, even when we're apart, I
Will we think about tomorrow like we think about now? Can we survive it out there? Can we make it somehow? I guess I thought that this would never end, and suddenly it's like we're women and men. Will the past be a shadow that will follow us round? Will these memories fade when I leave this town? I keep thinking that it's not goodbye. I keep on thinking it's our time to fly. As we go on, we remember all the times we had together. And as our lives change, come whatever, we will still be friends forever. As we go on, we remember all the times we had together. And as our lives change, come whatever, we will still be friends forever. As we go on, we remember all the times we had together.
Okay, I hope you had fun watching that. I made an absolute fool of myself doing some of those. Thankfully, my family members were not watching. They may have heard some of the music going on, but they were not watching. Yeah, it was a lot of work, but I wanted to do it because I wanted to have something to smile at and make us feel good. And I did actually make both of the cakes that were in there. So the birthday one was the chocolate one. It had a lovely chocolate espresso ganache on it. I shared it with some friends. I took it over to their house so that they could have some. I do not need to eat 2 cakes here at this house. So I did that. As you can see, I've put the other one over here for the wedding part. Yes, I did make that. I decorated it. If you got really close to it, it probably wouldn't look as nice as you might think it is. It's not as smooth as I would have liked the way I made it. The topper that was on in the video, it was a little glass heart with some doves on the top and lace and things. That was actually our wedding topper when I got married. So I've kept it all this time and I used it and put it on there. I didn't leave it on there because the frosting was going to make it gross. You know, it's going to, there's going to be oils and stuff in the frosting and it was going to make the lace and stuff gross. So I did take the topper off and clean that, but it's lovely. And now we're going to eat it. That's the one I'm going to leave here because I don't have anybody else to take it to. So we'll eat some of it. I doubt we'll eat all of it by any means. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed that. It was fun. All right, let's get to some of the stitching stuff. I've got a hair that just keeps falling in my face. Okay, if you watched the last video, then you saw that I was going to concentrate solely on my HAED for the most part. I do a little, just like if I'm going somewhere, I might go take something smaller, obviously. The HAED is way too big. So the things that I have worked on that are smaller, I'll get to those. The continuing saga of the T-ball ornaments by Heartstring Samplery. I did 2 small ones this time. I think all the other ones I've showed you are the big ones. I can't remember. Let me think. I can't remember if I did a small one in the other video or not, but I have two small ones now to show you. So here's the first one. Let me get that to turn around. So there's that one. Now this is pretty close to the pattern and what it calls for. With the small ones, you're not putting as much detail. Now these are just the big ones. These are the pictures of the big ones. So the small ones don't have obviously as much because they aren't going to fit. But even still, I still have the same issue with having with it, the way it wraps, the mesh wraps around and where it will start just kind of distorting the stitches a little. So I had to modify it a little bit. I don't have quite as much striping going on as the other one did. I think the star is the same stitches it normally would be, but there's not as many stripes. The next one I did, I modified a little bit. Well, I modified completely. I pretty much came up with my own pattern, but what I did was I took the tree, one of these trees off of here, because the pattern for the small one, the tree is actually smaller. The individual tree is smaller than the ones for the big ones. So I took the bigger size because that's the size I wanted to make it. And then I just kind of went from there. So use the bigger tree. I put a star on the top of the tree. I put some snow on the ground. And then I put some French knots in the tree for like balls, Christmas balls. So it turned out really nice. Didn't know how it was going to turn out. I found that the smaller T-balls are surprisingly easier to work with. The reason that they're easier to work with is because the depth, when you open it up, isn't as deep as the big ones. And so when you're trying to push your needle through or hold it and push your needle through to see and trying to watch what you're doing all at the same time, the big ones are a little bit farther up and you're kind of end up moving the ball more and not seeing what you're doing, and or just even finding the holes. You're having to dig your hand up in there so far that it's just harder to see it. It's still doable. So if any of you have these and you're getting ready or you want to start doing it or afraid to do them, don't be afraid. Just be patient. Be patient with yourself because they are a little bit harder to find the hole, the proper hole as you're stitching through it. But I've had a lot of comments. I put it on Instagram, a picture of them, and a lot of people really liked them. So don't be afraid to do it. In the next video, I'm pretty sure I will have some more done, but I am changing colors up. That's the only hint I'm going to give you. I'm not going to tell you what the colors are until you see them in the next video. I've done just a itty tiny bit of one, and so far, I'm thrilled with the color. And we'll see what happens when we get all the colors in. This color scheme only has 4 colors in it, and the next color scheme I'm doing, which is completely different, but I'm only using 4 colors as well. So we'll see how it goes, what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to show you is my HAED, my progress. So a reminder, this is the treasure hunt bookshelf. Okay. When I showed it to you, remember I'm working over here and I'm going across. So I will insert a before picture of what I started on from the last video, and then I'll show you the afterwards of what it looks like. As you can see, I have done quite a bit more. This is the section that was done before. So I have worked all the way across here, mostly from about this height up. So it's about 2 squares to basically 20 stitches up, and in some cases 30 stitches up. Some of the times it wasn't quite this low. Like here, I had most of this umbrella done before. So it just kind of varied as to how high I started up, but I have gotten a lot done. So as you can see, I got a boatload done. Since I'm only focusing on that, I am able to get a lot done. My average stitching, now there's been for all of May so far, I have missed 2 days working on it because I was busy and I just didn't have a chance to do it. So if I average all the days I've actually stitched on it, I'm averaging 269 stitches per day. I have put in just a little over 4,000 stitches so far this May. That's a lot of stitches. Lot of stitches. I am getting a lot done and I'm very happy about that. We'll see what the next 2 weeks show. And I looked at the calendar. Basically, the next 2 weeks are going to go into the very end of May. So I will stop. And when I show you the next progress, I'll show you how much I've done in these last 2 weeks. There goes our cat feeder again. Sorry. When I show you the next video, the progress of it, not only will I show you what I've done in the 2 weeks, but I will try to remember to unscroll it so you can see a lot more of the whole picture that I've done, if not all of it. I'll have to see how much, with it being on, I can't take it off the frame because it's stitched on, but I'll see how much I can show you, and that way you can get a better look at what I've done so far. So that's what I've accomplished with that in the last 2 weeks. I did want to kind of mention, in case any of you care, today I'm filming, it is the 18th of May. It is our 40th anniversary of the eruption of Mount St. Helens. I know some of you don't care. I lived in a town called Coos Bay, which is the southern Oregon coast, when that happened. I was 12. I remember, I wasn't old enough to remember a ton of things about it because, for one, the significance of it wasn't really that strong to me. What I remember is coming into the house and I was going to tell my dad something and he shushed me because he was watching the news report of what was going on. So like the Toutle River had the mud flows coming down it, and they were kind of showing what was going on with that. I'm sure they would have shown over and over again the actual eruption as much as they could, as much as they had available, but I do remember that much. We didn't get a whole lot of ash fallout where I lived because most of the ash, obviously besides the direct area around the mountain, most of the ash went east. And like I said, I was in Southern Oregon. So we just got a tiny, tiny little bit, so it didn't really affect us much. My mother lived, because I lived with my dad at the time, my mother actually lived in the suburbs of Portland, so she would have been affected much more with it. Again, I was young enough that I don't know how it really affected her. So, yeah, it's been 40 years already. 40 years. I do remember going up to, you ended up, because they didn't have any of the roads along the north side done yet. So if you wanted to get anywhere close to it in the years afterwards, you had to go around the south side of the mountain and come up kind of around the east side of the mountain. And it was an overlook over the lake. And then, of course, you could see the mountain from that side, from the side of it. That was in the early 80s. So it was like 3 or 4 years after it had erupted. So it was very desolate and sparse, and you could see a lot of the logs that were floating on the lake. Spirit Lake. I was trying to remember what it was called. Spirit Lake. A lot of logs that were still floating on the lake. Today, if you go up there, the last time we went up there, I think was in 2016. I think, like in September, maybe August. They have reforested a lot of the affected area, but the area directly around the mountain is not. So there's a certain perimeter, I just don't know how far out it went, where they did not reforest or do anything to it. They're just leaving the land as it is and let it come back on its own. And there's a lot of ground plants. There might be some trees that are starting to grow. They're not very big yet, obviously. But where they have reforested it, it's really gotten lush. It's gotten quite a bit. It looks much different than it did right after the eruption. So there is a road now that goes around to the north side, and there's an observatory just right outside the crater. It's called Johnson Ridge, in case I didn't say that clearly enough. It's pretty fantabulous, fantastic. Any adjective you want to use, put in there. If you just want to go up and stand outside the observatory area, and there are some trails, I think it's all free to go up there, but if you want to go inside and see the little video and stuff, then that costs money. So it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive, especially just even driving up there every time you come around a corner where the mountain hasn't been seen because you're driving in and out of the curves and stuff. It's just kind of makes your jaw drop a little close every time you come around a ridge, and you get a little closer and a little closer, and you realize how big the thing is. So with that, we'll quit with that coverage and move on to other things. I think that's pretty much all I have to cover. I did want to kind of give you a little encouragement, as I always do, that hopefully you're doing well during this time and that you're not getting down in the dumps because you're stuck inside, or the quarantine's limiting you from what you can do. I'm guessing almost everybody could get outside though. And if you can, do it. Just being outside is going to probably lift your spirits a little bit. So if that just means sitting out in your yard or on your porch or whatever, get outside. Get outside at least once a day if you can. The next best thing as well, beyond just getting outside, is go for a walk. Can you walk around in your neighborhood? Is there a little bit of a park that has walking trails that is open and you can walk on? Try and do that as often as you can as well. So being outside and getting that exercise of walking or whatever, that your endorphins are going to go up. You're going to feel better. So do what you can to keep positive as much as you can. I know we can't do it 24/7, but if you can, do it. So I think that's it. I'm going to check my notes here real quick. Hopefully this was a very fun, entertaining video. Not only the fact that maybe I encouraged you to get outside a little bit, but you laughed a little bit along with my antics and gave you a little bit of something to smile about. So with that, I will send off and say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.